Hey guys, how you doing this evening? Kenny B here from Cities and Suburbs, February 26, 2023. Hope you're enjoying some of the relaxed jazz in the background, snow jazz from our friends over at YouTube. Can't appreciate YouTube enough, but you guys are awesome too. How you guys doing? Cities and Suburbs, Kenny B 22623. Want to run down in a local area. By the way, Mother Nature is still reminding you guys that it's us guys that it's winter still. Okay, we have another calendar month, if you will, of winter, but who knows? March is going to come in, as you guys know how it goes out. Gas prices in Massachusetts, a couple of weeks ago they were peaking. Now they're coming down. We're around $3 a gallon. Here in Worcester, the BP on 54 Stafford Street is at $2.92 a gallon. So let's put the 9/10 in, so $2.93. Speedway, right down the road on 1148 Main Street, regular unleaded is $2.92 per gallon. BP on Southbridge Street, $2.99. AL Prime Energy on Southbridge Street by College Square there. We're at $2.99. Gulf on Southbridge Street, $2.99. Gulf on Madison Street, $2.99. And Gulf at 640 Park Ave is $2.99. So roughly about $3 a gallon. You know, comment below. Do you guys still think, those of us who drive, are we paying too much for energy? Just saying. So a little local update. And tomorrow night, on February 27th, there is a webinar and I'm going to post a link down below, brought to you by the Worcester Regional Research Bureau, along with the Worcester Historical Museum are going to co-host a virtual forum on Worcester's redlining history, which is going to be on February 27th at 5 o'clock. I've already registered myself or shared a link. It's really interesting. I'll go on here and talk about what redlining is and was. Basically, the red line was put through during the New Deal era of government, and it was a sponsored corporation bill intended to refinance mortgages between the decades, the years of 1933 to 1954, where what banks and the federal government did was, because of the Great Depression and to bring people out of poverty and creating less homelessness, tossing people out of their houses, was let's refinance, right? You guys hear that, dude? That's become a common practice, but it wasn't a common practice back then. It was a way to keep people that were working but defaulted on their loans, what have you, during the Great Depression. The red line, however, were areas of any city or town, whether Worcester or Chicago, where they were high risk areas for banks to reinvest in. So let me just say this: it began during the Great Depression in 1933 and existed until 1954. It created maps, and this was in the Worcester Business Journal, maps in the 1930s to assess credit worthiness, which were color-coded by risk factor, which the term redlining comes from the color used to code areas of the, how do we want to say this, the Office of Loans through the United States, and found that the highest risk areas were disproportionate areas, mainly of black families that lived across America. So the banks would, refinance you so you could stay in your home, but they were disinvesting in that area. And that really all comes down to, back in the early 1900s with the Great Migration and the black population in this country, rightfully so, moving north to find better opportunities and escape the god-awful Jim Crow laws, found work, but certainly weren't welcomed, and were pretty much in these relocated to these disinvested areas. So when companies pulled out, they pulled out. And so redlining in Worcester, that's going to be tomorrow at 4:30 to 6. It says 5 o'clock here. This is from, I believe, patch.com. But I wanted to give you the right definition of what the New Deal was. And I will have it. Yes, it was the Federal Homeowners Loan Corporation, HOLC. I'm still learning about this myself, but I am very familiar with what redlining is, but I didn't really get into it until it affected the town where I'm from, and that's Worcester. Every city in the country did it because our manufacturing was, very clustered, and, and by the way, manufacturing, since 1979, manufacturing peaked in this country, okay? It's down 39% from what it was based up into 2019. And there's a lot of reasons for that, But manufacturing jobs were production jobs. Today they could be machine shops, they could be making nuts and bolts, they could be producing chemicals, producing buckets at a factory. Manufacturing jobs were, you could say, not highly skilled jobs, but they were necessary jobs. And what happened is the population of the country started really growing. We're at like 350 whatever, right? 350 million people, and maybe more now. We're going to be 400 million people. And back in the 30s and 40s, we were like 142,000 people. And it was the same percentage back then that held the manufacturing jobs that hold them now. So you could see because there's been such the automation movement and the education that it takes to work in some of these jobs, and so that's what's happened. And so we're a much different country than we were 30 years ago. It's too simple. It's too easy to say, well, we're shipping all our jobs overseas. That's just one of like many reasons why manufacturing has declined in this country and America has turned into a service economy. Anyway, Main Street. Let's go. Have you guys heard of Maker to Main? They're leaving. Now, there's a lot of shops, boutiques, if you will, on Main Street downtown. And I just wanted to bring this up because I wanted to feature this really quickly. Maker to Main is let me see if I can find the paperwork on Maker to Main. Okay, opened in February 2020, pardon me, right before stupid COVID hit, on the first floor of a downtown building, and had been renovated to include new apartments. The stores they're moving to the Canal District. Oh boy, they're leaving downtown proper without a grocery store. Gala Foods, however, south near Chandler, will still be available. Maker to Main specializes in food, produce, drinks, and home goods within a few hundred miles of Worcester. Sometimes it's sad I have to read the stuff that's published, but anyway, the reason why is it's a business that's on Main Street, and basically they're moving, without saying it, they're moving to the Canal District along Harding Street, because, let me see exactly why. I had a couple of highlights from this, but basically what they're saying is when they moved in downtown on Main Street, they were expecting a higher traffic volume. They were expecting complementary businesses to come in, which they did not, And here's a grocery store, which is the irony, guys, we want people to live downtown. They can't even buy. I've said it a million times. I've said it a million times. They also said that, let me just say this, the pandemic, this is the quote from the owner, the pandemic also brought a largely remote workforce, keeping Main Street from being a bustling and business essential foot traffic area. Add in confusing parking. They put in these stupid pay-by-plate things, which they don't even enforce, and which is metered, and you have an environment that greatly impedes a business ability to thrive. Right? So all while that same business is left waiting for complementary commerce to take place. So that's what takes place. You have to have complementary. You have to have a busy Main Street. And so we have a business that opened a couple of years ago, Maker's Domain, along with some of these other guys. I don't know how they make a living down there on Main Street. They're moving to Canal District. Now, this is very eerie, okay, of what happened in the mid-'60s. Okay, people, Main Street, manufacturing's leaving, what's going on? So we build a mall, and all the stuff that was on Main Street was sucked to the mall. Well, now everything's being sucked over to the Green Island District and the Canal District and Polar Park. And the city's going to love that because that's going to help pay for the park, Polar Park. So, I'm not seeing it with Main Street. Just to wrap up, gas prices fill up while you can. Redlining in Worcester tomorrow, 27th at 5 o'clock. I'll share the link down below. And sign up for it. You have to register in advance, but it's an hour and a half. It'll really, really, educate anybody about why our cities are in the shape they are in. Okay? And also, too, let's look at Main Street, right? I was down there a couple of weeks ago. I saw a band at the Hanover Theater called Almost Queen. They were like, almost, my God. They were, another show, another story. But, and it was bustling. It was doing its thing. But there's still something missing. Something's missing, guys. And anyway, let's see what we can do. And we'll talk to you on the other side. Kenny B here signing out from Cities and Suburbs. Like, don't like, subscribe, unsubscribe, subscribe though. I wouldn't like if you liked and subscribed. Anyway, guys, have a great week moving forward. Be the best you can be at being you. Take care. Talk to you soon. Kenny B signing out from Cities and Suburbs. See you on the next meeting.